Sairam. Having seen a lot of concepts all through, we now come to the last part in this first chapter of atoms and molecules and various mathematical aspects of this, where we come across a concept called as limiting reagent. Now, what is this limiting reagent? The word itself tells a limit. Limit means somewhere to block or to stop something. It so happens that whenever you undertake reactions in chemistry, now you are absolutely clear that all the reactions will take place in perfect proportion. For example, many examples that we have already seen. So, if I have taken this 4Fe plus O2 gives rise to Fe2O3. So, the balancing part has been this, where the proportion is perfect, that 4:3 among iron and oxygen to give the 2 moles of iron oxide. But it so happens that you may need not take the same required quantity all the time, and sometime you may fall short of the quantity also. So, whenever these reactions are taking place, it so happens that sometimes one of the reactant gets completely consumed, because you may not have added the required amount of substance, generally in grams, or say you can measure it in terms of volume also. So, if you have not added required amount, then naturally that particular quantity will get finished. So, that type of reagent which gets finished in the reaction first, which is consumed first, we call that as a limiting reagent in the cases. Limiting reagent. So, what is this limiting reagent? It is nothing but that reactant which gets consumed at the faster pace, means because of lesser amount of substance in it, it gets consumed and that reaction stops there because one of the reactant is over. Then what about the other aspect? Then the reactant which is not completely consumed is the excess reagent. So, when you take, you may not have taken exact quantities, some quantity you must have taken lesser, some you must have taken more. So, that one which is in excess, we call it by a general name excess reagent, which stops the reaction even before the overall completion. That component we call it as limiting reagent. So, what is this limiting reagent? This can be best understood when you take up various examples for it. When 3 moles of sulfur dioxide is mixed with 2 moles of oxygen, sulfur trioxide is obtained. So, for this, first what we have to do? We have to write an equation. SO2 plus O2 gives rise to SO3. Sulfur dioxide is reacting with oxygen to form sulfur trioxide. Now, the question is, you have to balance this reaction also. So, how do you balance it? You have in total 4 oxygens here, but only 3 oxygens on the other side. So, suppose if I take this as 2SO3. Now, once I disturb sulfur there, I have to disturb it here also. Now, make a calculation. 2 sulfurs on either sides. What about oxygen? 2 2s are 4 plus 2 is 6, 2 3s is 6. So, is it balanced now? It is definitely balanced. So, the moment a reaction is given, the first thing that we have to undertake is balancing of this reaction. Now, from the reaction we can understand that 2 moles of sulfur dioxide reacts with 1 mole of oxygen to form 2 moles of sulfur trioxide. This is the ratio according to the reaction. Now, we have to go back to the question to understand what is it that they have asked. They have happened to convey that 3 moles of sulfur dioxide, they have taken 3 moles, is mixed with 2 moles of oxygen. What we realize here is that for 2 moles of sulfur dioxide, 1 mole was enough. If you had taken 3 moles, 1.5 moles of oxygen is enough. Similarly, the other way around, if I take 1 mole, how many moles of sulfur dioxide I need? I need 2 moles. If I take 2 moles, how many moles of sulfur dioxide I need? I actually need 4. But how many moles they have taken? They have just taken 3. Which means that when you do a reaction, this will be finished early. Because for 3 moles, 1.5 mole was sufficient. So, this is how we can determine the limiting reagent. That is what is the first question. Which is the limiting reagent? The limiting reagent is SO2, because you have taken only 3 moles, whereas oxygen you have taken 2 moles. Now when you see at the outset, it seems that 3 moles is bigger than 2 moles, but you have to understand how the reaction proportion takes place. The proportion is 2:1. If you take 2 moles, 1 mole is enough. If you take 3 moles, 1.5 moles is needed. So what about the other 5 mole then? Out of 2, 1.5 mole will be used for 3 moles of SO2. What about the other 0.5? That is what we call it as excess reagent. So this is the limiting reagent because it is limiting the reaction, it is stopping the reaction. If this was also in 4 moles, it would have proceeded further. So this is how we identify the limiting reagent of this particular compound. What is the maximum amount of SO3 that can be formed? So in this case, when you took the reaction, 2SO2 plus O2 gives rise to 2SO3. This was the reaction. Now when you consider the moles that are being given, if 3SO2 is taken, 3 moles, and if 2 moles of oxygen is taken, please understand that in this 2 moles, only 1.5 moles takes part, the other 0.5 mole is an excess reagent. Now when 3 moles of SO2 reacts with 1.5 moles, how many moles of SO2 is formed? Once again 3 moles, because please understand the ratio, 2:1:2. This is the stoichiometric ratio that the reaction takes place. So when 3 moles reacts with 1.5 mole, 3 moles of SO3 is also formed. What about this 0.5 moles of oxygen? That is the excess reagent that is present in this case. So that is what is the question. What is the maximum amount of SO3 that can be formed? Maximum amount it can form is 3 moles only. Though oxygen is excessively present, this is the maximum amount of SO3 that can be formed. Now they are not asked here with respect to mass, they have generally talked about moles, and therefore if you represent the answer in terms of moles, that should be more than enough. So this is about one concept of this limiting reagent, and with this I am sure you must have understood what is the concept of limiting reagent. Let us move further now. 2.3 gram of sodium metal is introduced in a 2-liter flask filled with chlorine gas at STP. Now this is important because the moment you say STP, we can bring about this concept that 1 mole is equal to 22.7 liter. And when is this 22.7 liter applicable? Only at STPs. So once they mention this as STP, then we can consider this aspect. After the reaction is over, find what is the limiting reagent in this reaction. This is a little more trickier problem than the last one, because in the last one it was just about correlating moles. Now one element is given in terms of gram, another element is given in terms of liters. How will you correlate? Whenever a question is given, the first thing that you have to do is write the reaction. Sodium Na plus chlorine, we will always write it as Cl2. Why should we write it as Cl2? Because it is a gas, and gases are diatomic in nature, because the molecules will be spread far away. Since it has to be held together, it will be diatomic. And what is the product here? When sodium reacts with chlorine, you will get sodium chloride, and balancing 2Na, 2NaCl. This is how the overall balancing in this reaction takes place. Now this question is still far away. What is the limiting reagent is still far away. We first have to understand how many moles are taking part in this, because only then we will be able to realize what is the overall component that is present. Atomic mass of sodium. This is something that you will have to know from the periodic table. What is atomic mass of sodium? 23. And how do you find the number of moles? We have seen one formula, if you remember in the earlier parts. N is equal to M divided by capital M. What is this N? N is number of moles. M is the small m is the given mass, capital M is the molar mass. So how many moles of sodium are utilized here? 2.3 gram of sodium was used, divided by molar mass was 23. Just to keep the problem simple, they are given similar divisibility values if you see here. So 2.3 divided by 23 is 0.1. I think this calculation must be pretty simple for you. So what I have done now is, this is the reaction. 2 moles react with 1 mole to give 2 moles. Once again, if you want the ratio things, I can just write. But what is important to be understood here is that full 2 moles is not reacting. Why it is not reacting? Because you didn't take the required amount. The moles that you have taken is just 2.3 gram you have taken, and by this formula you know that 2.3 divided by 23, which is the molar mass. So all that you have taken is 0.1 moles, that's it. Now if you take this 0.1 mole, this NaCl in this case, if you take it as 0.1 mole, then how many moles of other components will work? You know by now that if this is 0.1, how much of Cl2 you require? You only need half of it, 0.05. Why do you need half of it? Because 2 moles of Na needs only 1 mole, half the quantity. So if this is 0.1, 0.505 must be enough. What about NaCl then? NaCl also requires, we will form 0.1. Reason for it, 2 moles of Na is giving 2 moles of NaCl. 0.1 mole of Na will give you 0.1 mole of NaCl. The problem, the divisibility thing is only coming for chlorine because we have just used 1 mole. So 2:1, therefore half. Now this was the need of the reaction because you took 0.1. But how much of chlorine actually you have taken? How will you determine it? For that they are given 2 liter there. And what is that 2 liter? 2 liter flask filled with chlorine gas at STP. So how will you find the moles here now? Given liters divided by standard liters. Earlier for this you did given mass by molar mass. Whereas because when you talk about gram, you always talk with respect to molar mass. When you talk about particles, you always talk with respect to Avogadro number, 6.02 10 to 10 raised to 23. When you talk about liters, you always talk with respect to 22.7. And where did I get that 2? That is nothing but given. So what is 2 divided by 22.7? Please calculate it. You will be getting it around 0.088 mole per liter. This is the unit. A simple calculation is that, which means that in this setup you have taken 0.1 mole of Na. How did you get it? 2.3 divided by 23 is equal to 0.1, and you have also taken 0.088 moles of Cl2. Now the question is, I needed only 0.05, but how much I have? 0.088, which means that I am having excess of chlorine being present. And how much excess is present? That is the total amount which is obtained in this calculation, but my need was only 0.05 as I am able to see it in the reaction. So if you see here, I am actually having an excess of 0.038 mole per liter excess quantity that I am utilizing here. So what is the limiting reagent? That which gets consumed at the earliest. What is the excess reagent? The other one which actually stays in excess quantity. So you can very easily analyze that chlorine is the excess reagent. The limiting reagent is nothing but sodium. So I hope this must be clear for you at this particular case in understanding. Similarly, the second question, how many moles of sodium chloride are formed? That we have already formulated here. When we took 0.1 mole, and because this was limiting reagent, this will get finished early. How many moles of chlorine was required? 0.005. But how many moles was actually taken in the system? It was taken 0.088. So that much was excess. So this is the reaction which takes place, and the number of moles formed will be 0.01. So this is how the calculative aspects of this part can be understood, where the same question, the question is same but other quantities is what they are asking. Which substance is left unconsumed at the end of the reaction? Find out its mass in gram. We just now discussed it. Let me just put it up once again so that you are able to understand that part very easily. We realize that 2Na plus Cl2 gives rise to 2NaCl. This was the balanced chemical reaction. We also saw that the ratio needed was only 2:1:2. What was the amount of sodium taken? 2.3. This was the amount taken, but what was the molar mass? 23. So in total only 0.1 mole was taken. So 0.1 mole of sodium needed only 0.05 Cl2, but and 0.1 NaCl will be formed. But what about Cl2? Cl2 was seen that 2 liters were taken and the standard is 22.7. So, this was seen to be 0.088. Now, what is the question that they asked? They asked which is the unconsumed reagent, that is nothing but chlorine, and how much is unconsumed? We already saw that calculation, it was 0.088 minus 0.05, which I can write it as 0.038 mole per liter. This is the unconsumed part which was present in this case. So, this is the answer for the third one that we have here. In this particular substance unconsumed reaction, that part, but find out its mass in gram. Now, that was in terms of liter. How will you find it out in terms of grams then? Because that 0.038 which is there, it is in terms of liters. If you have to convert it into grams, then how do you do that part? It is nothing but you multiply with the molar mass which has been present. And what is the molar mass of Cl2? Chlorine is 35.5, the mass of that chlorine. Cl2 will be nothing but into 71, and with that you will be getting this final answer in this case. Moving further, the last one which is there, what percentage of the substance present in excess is converted into sodium chloride? First thing is, which was the excess one? It was chlorine. How much chlorine you had actually taken? 0.088. But if you remember in the reaction, how much did you use? You used only 0.05. So, 0.05 you used out of 0.088, and they are just asking the percentage. Once again, if I go to the question, what percentage of substance present in excess, now which is the one in excess? Chlorine, is converted into sodium chloride. This was the excess one total, and how much is converted? Only 0.05. If you undertake this calculation, you will be getting the percentage equivalent to 56.8%. This is a simple calculation that you can undertake. So, this is how we analyze the various aspects about a limiting reagent and how these are calculated and analyzed based on the number of moles and its corresponding masses or the liters that we have taken. So, having understood these parts, now let us take up one more example in this case, where this is a next higher level type of question that can come across for you. 2 gram mixture of MgCO3 and CaCO3 are heated till no further loss of weight takes place, which means that continuous heating takes place, and later on there is no further heating. So, if a heating takes place for magnesium carbonate, then you actually get magnesium oxide and carbon dioxide. This is how the heating reaction takes place. Similarly, for calcium carbonate, if you take CaCO3, gives rise to CaO plus CO2. This is the reaction that it takes place, and in both the reactions, carbon dioxide gas is eliminated. The residue weighs 1.04 gram. Find the percentage composition of this mixture is what they have been asking. So, for finding the percentage composition of this particular mixture, we have to first understand that the overall mixture weight was 2 gram. And what was this mixture weight? It was 2 MgCO3 as well as CaCO3 which has been present there. Now, what is the mass of MgCO3 that we tend to have? So, in this case, if I have to understand this part, let me believe that I had x gram of MgCO3, which is similar to the mathematical algebraic sums that you have done earlier. So, if x gram of MgCO3 if I consider, then what will be the gram representation for CaCO3? It will be nothing but 2 minus x, because overall weight is 2 gram. So, this will naturally be equal to 2 minus x, the other one which has been present. Now, when I consider MgCO3 as x and this as 2 minus x, so in this case what happens here is that, let me just clear up this parts. So, in MgCO3 we shall first find out the mass which has been present. 24 plus 12 plus 16 into 3 will be 48. If you take up this calculation, you will get it around 84. Now, this 84 which is there is actually giving you MgO, and carbon dioxide is eliminated from the system. So, which means that magnesium plus oxygen, it is only giving you 40 grams. Now what is that 40 gram? That is the residue that is present at the final stage. Similarly, let me take the example of CaCO3 in this case. So CaCO3 if I have, this will be 40 plus 12 plus 16 into 3 48. Calculate this, you will get it to 100 grams. This will give you calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is going out anyway, so no need to worry about that. This will give you 56 gram in place. Now, what do we understand from these two parts is, we have already considered magnesium carbonate as X in that case, and in the other part 2 minus X is what we have considered in these parts. So, in these generalization parts which are being present, in this part now once we see that 84 gram of magnesium carbonate is giving you 40 grams, 100 grams is giving you 56 gram. We have already taken a consideration that magnesium carbonate will be termed in terms of X. So, if 84 gram of magnesium carbonate is giving us 40 grams, then what about the X component which is present about magnesium carbonate? So, this entire magnesium carbonate I can show that it is 40 divided by 84X as a cross multiplying part. Same thing let me employ for the calcium carbonate thing. 100 gram in this case is giving 56 gram of residue. What is the residue? Something that stays at the end. Now, what is this part? This is 2 minus X. This has to be remembered very clearly, because when you undertook the starting aspects, you decided that X is MgCO3 and CaCO3 is 2 minus X. So, this calcium carbonate part I can write it as 56 into 2 minus X divided by 100. This is how I can write it. So, for magnesium carbonate I have 40 by 84X. For this I have 56 into 2 minus X divided by the 100. Now, that 100 has come basically from calcium parts. Now, continuing these aspects as such, we shall use this now to understand the final residue that is being present there. The total residue in the end is given by 1.04 gram. And what is the residue made up of? It is been made up of, in the calculations that we have seen earlier, that the general parts that we have considered, say once again for that magnesium carbonate as such, you saw that MgCO3 and giving rise to MgO and CO2. You have realized that this is say 24 plus 12 plus 48 in this case, where you have seen that the total calculation came to around 84, whereas this calculation was 24 plus 16 which came to around 40. So, how can you write this part now is that 40 divided by 84X plus 56 into 2 minus X divided by 100 will be equal to 1.04 gram. Now, how did you get these parts? Because 2 gram was the overall mixture which was reacted. We got the comparative residues and the total residue weight was seen to be 1.04 gram. So, once we get that, this is a mathematical calculation where I am sure you can take it up this with LCM factors and all. 40x by 84 plus 56, this can be 112 minus 56x divided by 100 is equal to 1.04. So, if you please take up this calculation, the mathematical calculations with respect to LCM and all, finally you can get the X value which can be seen equivalent to 0.96. So, that mathematics part, I think with your earlier school level mathematics, you can definitely work on that and get this X is equal to 0.96, because what we deal here is the chemical aspects of these concepts. So, once since they asked the percentage composition, how do we find out the percentage composition? What is X? X is nothing but the MgCO3 form that we have taken of the presence. So, percentage means 0.96 divided by 2, because 2 is the overall mass that was present. 0.96 divided by 2 into 100, the percentage that we are going to get is 48%. If this is 48%, then the other one will definitely be calcium carbonate, which is nothing but the other aspect of 52% as the percentage composition of calcium carbonate in this particular compound. So, this is how we can utilize various mathematical aspects and calculate the presence of compounds in these particular composition mixtures. So, this is all that we have in this chapter to understand various concepts as such, and finally, just as revision for you, a couple of questions here. Define limiting reagent, a definition of sorts, whatever you understood, if you can put it in proper words, that itself becomes a definition as such. There is another reaction that is given for you, 2 aluminum plus 3 MnO, that is manganese oxide, gives aluminum oxide and manganese, proceeds till the limiting substance is consumed. A mixture of 220 gram of Al and 400 gram of MnO was heated to initiate the reaction. Which initial substance remained in excess and by how much? So, as I have explained the examples had a lot of things in that, but in normal questions you will have just minimum 1 or 2 parts as such. So, how do you go about this? Just let me give you an idea. First thing is calculate the mass of this entire reaction that is present, calculate 2 Al mass, 3 MnO mass, Al2O3 mass and 3 Mn mass, all this you calculate. Then you see how many moles were, which among these apply this 220 gram and 400 gram. You see what is the ratio and which among this is the limiting reagent, which means that which among these finishes at a faster rate as such. So, for your reference, the masses of aluminum as well as manganese is also given here. So, this is all that we have in this chapter of atoms, molecules and chemical arithmetics. It is having a lot of mathematical aspects as such, no doubt, but definitely understanding these will give you a proper base in understanding various further chemical aspects about this. See you again with a new different chapter. Thank you. Sai Ram.